Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the 54th episode of the Supernova Show. And I am your host, Colton Roberts. I didn't totally take myself out of the stream and then have to add myself back to it. Nope, you didn't see any of that. But yeah, that's good. Throw up that banner. And yeah, we've got Mr. Robert Kastner with us today. We're going to talk about some of the movie trivia report. And then talk some video game movies. And then we're gonna do the legit Batman movie ranking since that came out, and next week we will talk about the Batman. We'll give you guys a week to not be spoiled. We're not gonna be one of those people. And then in a little bit, I've got a special guest coming on, and that will be pretty exciting. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bring out Mr. Robert Kastner.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Oh yeah.
What was the woos for? Because it's freaking Batman week, man.
Yeah, like last week we were talking about you and Amaru are training for trivia. I'm training on how to put this thing on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you're training for stuff that matters.
Well, thank you. Hey, what you guys got matters too. It matters to you, and that's all that matters, right?
That's sort of how I look at it, yes.
Yeah, so see, now of course, my baby will, well, all right, the internet will not think my baby is as cute as this thing, but no, it will not. But
there's never been anything as cute as that thing.
Well, all right, so I've said, yeah, that Grogu is probably the cutest thing, but like my best friend's wife is like, no, baby Groot. And I don't know. But I can understand if someone thinks that. I understand.
No, I disagree.
Yeah.
I've never seen baby Grogu have a face of menace and legit murder someone.
Yeah, I mean, he did kind of like eat a bunch of poor frog people.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he didn't do it with a countenance that made him look like a serial killer.
Yeah. But yeah, so granted, in what is it? 13 days?
Whoa.
13 days, yep.
So by show 56, you might have a new edition.
Yes, unless he decides to make his arrival early. So, yeah.
Oh, that means we've done over a year of shows.
Yeah. We
That's
sure
crazy.
have. Yeah, we finally caught up. Like I think we ended last year on number 44 because we missed so many weeks during the year because of shenanigans. But so far, we're doing pretty well. Yeah, we got 52 in, so that's good. But yeah, so so future reference, if you see me run out of here or in the stream early, my wife's in labor. So
wow, that would be quite an occasion.
Yeah, that would be actually like a really memorable thing to tell my son. Be like, hey, here's video of me finding out that you were going to be born.
The only thing I ask is if that happens, please shut down the stream.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely.
You can run around and destroy all parts of your office, but please remove the stream because I can't filibuster forever.
Yeah, I will definitely end it. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. Or like if something happens where it's like, oh, he's here and it's a thing and I have to run. Well, also, yeah, I'll end the stream before I even get up out of the chair because if not, normally I don't wear socks on wooden floors because as soon as I get up and start to run, I fall down. Yep, and that would be the worst part is if I go to run, check to see how my wife's doing, to come back to report back to you guys, and then I'm down with a broken leg, and then the stream just runs till next week. That would be the worst.
I assume there's some sort of admin thing that can be done in case, in the unlikely event someone gets incapacitated or, dare I say, dies while they're controlling the StreamYard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a limit on how long you can stream too, but I know with the free version of StreamYards, there is. I think it's a hour-long limit, but I think with the paid one, you can film as much as you want to. So unless like Aaron and them, or like if you told Aaron Canole, hey, the stream's still going, he would pop in and end it because he also has those privileges. So,
Okay.
but if
That
he was
that
on,
ruins it. I was kinda hoping there'd be a situation where it would be ever continuous, and it would just you would come back and you'd be like, "Oh, like, what's going on? What's
yeah,
this?"
yeah, I just come back in a week and I actually have an actual baby
Yeah.
here. No, but also, wait, it makes cute noises. So I'm sure. I hope Disney's not going to sue us for that. But
Mm.
well, we're gonna take this off now.
No. Oh, I thought you were gonna do the whole show like that.
All right, I can.
You don't have to. I bet that's unwieldy.
I mean, it's a little weird because he's like right up in my face, but
Yeah.
besides that, I mean, guess what? My wife's not here and Ezra's asleep. I may have to do that while recording. So
I was gonna say that gives you really good practice
yeah,
for what it's gonna be like when you're trying to create your content with
yeah. Well,
your face.
it's one of those things where guess what? Like, me and my wife have talked about it. She's not gonna like. So whenever Morbius comes out, and
Morbius.
yeah, and that was also another thing. Since I'm such a constant professional, we can talk about the new Morbius trailer and the new
Secrets.
new Fantastic Beast trailer.
Secrets of Dumbledore.
Yep. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and inside baseball, I never thought I would make it to 50 some episodes. I thought I would just do every once in a while, but turns out I'm
Yeah,
a rock.
yeah, like especially like I remember at the beginning, like I've told you this before, like I asked you to come on and then I was like a bum and forgot to keep on sending you the link. So I just added you to our group so that you would always have the link
Yes.
because I am a very forgetful person.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't been on the show, this show would have got canceled probably about 30 episodes ago.
I did it.
Yes.
I made something live.
So, let's move on. Let's put out our condolences for the Knicks because apparently my curse is not so bad that it made them win. The last I was looking at it, I was like, "Ah, this stinks." But
No,
I
it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the makeup of the Knicks.
what granted, I only made the one prediction, so I was only wrong the one time
Yes.
because he told me who it was. So maybe if I start doing predictions now and being like, "Ooh, it's gonna be this. It's gonna be
They were
this."
playing the Heat. It's not like they had a
Yeah.
really good shot. The Heat are like perennial contenders, and they're going to be in the thick of things to try to make it to the finals this year. So it's not like the Knicks really had a shot. There's a reason that joke was probably the best joke in Seoul. Honestly, that was probably the part that I laughed the most at, just because it was totally unexpected. I was like, "That's funny."
But yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, like we let's go ahead and move on to the movie trivia report. And yeah, so I know you want to talk about your five way.
Meh.
Yeah, and then I don't know if anything else is going on like in the families because I haven't watched like I
No,
watched Jake beat Aaron because I like Jake, even though he won't come on the show.
it's
I
okay. He's
still
busy. He works nights and stuff. It's kind of his thing.
yeah, and then yeah, like I found out this week that if you're in the like, is Christina not in the FCL?
No, because she just did the classic last night.
Yeah. Okay.
Her
So
contract has expired.
yeah, I didn't know if because if she was in the FCL, if she could be in Classic. Because yeah, I saw that she was in that.
No, you're not allowed to be. I'm pretty sure her contract is kaput.
Okay. Yeah, because like I know Peggy's in the FCL, and I just
Yeah,
assumed.
she's waiting for that to start back up again.
Yeah, so I just assumed that Christina was too. But yeah, and I know Rue ran whatever. So I really like I'm sure he has like the password to their thing, but I really wonder if like from now on, do I have to mention to that brokerage group or the whatever it is, if he's going to be on? Because like they don't care for them to be on other stuff, even though they say they do, unless they just don't know about classic. But
No, I mean, there are probably things that really fly under their radar, but you wouldn't think so because they're very meticulous at making sure that everything's on their radar.
yeah,
Even
especially
things that shouldn't even matter to them.
yeah, especially with other people like being having been in Full Metal before, like
Mhm.
Parker.
How about their writer, Jeremy Adams was the arbiter of Full Metal.
Yeah, but yeah, so maybe they don't care about that, and I hope not because like when April comes around when we're doing Fantastic Beast, I'm gonna want him back on the show, and I'm gonna send the thing because I'm respectful enough to do that. But yeah, like I feel so sorry for that woman last week. Like we talked for like
Yeah,
10
she must
minutes.
have been bored out of her tears.
Yeah, she told me afterwards, she was like, "Yeah, I had to listen to everything y'all said to make sure you don't say anything that was appropriate." And I'm just like, "Man, Goddard, you're the worst."
Inappropriate, inappropriate, inappropriate. Oh, feels so good to be able to get that.
Yeah, like I mean, then at the end we were talking about like we talked about boobs and stuff.
Oh, they don't care about that.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
They just wanna make sure their competitors haven't touched them in public or something.
Yeah. I
That's
get
important.
but yeah, yeah, it's so that's all I gotta say. Like I know yeah, do you want to talk about your 5-person match?
So, you said that Jake played Aaron. Do you mean he played Bar? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he defended his title, and
Yep.
we're at a point.
Remember, I knew Hocus Pocus.
Yes,
And
you
I'm
did.
just every time I watch a singles match, I want to know one answer. And guess
Mhm.
what? There's a Schmoedown match where I knew two answers,
Oh,
and that shows you the quality of that. Also, one of them was a Dwayne the Rock Johnson question, so I don't know if that really counts because I watch every single movie that that man is in. But the other one, it's something.
I
So
watched the IG match, and I didn't know as much as I would have liked, but I did know the end questions, which in my opinion were, and we could talk about this in a little bit. I thought the 5 pointers in the IG match were actually easier than the 3 pointers, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, we can talk about my match. So it had been set up prior. I filmed that like a month and a half ago.
yeah, like
Okay.
I had known the result for a really long time.
You did. Way to keep that under wraps. I almost blew it last week.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, no. So they set up so Scully had barely lost that three-way match at the end. He basically was a Jade Palace away from having the title. So they had to give him a shot right away, which makes all the sense in the world. He played Menchaca, and that match was a little bit better than I thought it would be, but Mark really didn't have a chance in that match. And then we had our five-way, which was me and Tyler Birch and Joe Fairley and Albert Wardharma and Cameron Holtzman. Due to a number of matches that they had set up post or leading up to the final order or whatever. So we go into that match. It kind of goes at the start how you would expect. I mean, Joe's the only one Joe and Albert get the quotes question for freaking Goldeneye, and I just watched Bond, but I wouldn't have remembered that. And then it goes and flows, and we get to a point where Joe and Albert are tied. I'm tied with Tyler, and Holtzman's behind. And so we all defer. And then the wheel is really where everything sort of spun out of control, pun intended, because Holtzman got a category he didn't want, clearly. Tyler got a category he didn't want, but he still did pretty well at it. Then I spun, and I got both of Holtzman's categories because he willed his into existence, which pissed me off. And I got a category I didn't want. And then the two people who were at the top got categories that they wanted. I mean, there's barely a category I'm pretty sure Joe doesn't want, but he got what he wanted. He got freaking Wizarding World, and those Wizarding World questions were not that difficult. They were fairly difficult, but they weren't that difficult. And then Albert got YA, and I had studied that, and I nailed all his. So by the time the second round's come and gone, that match is pretty much decided. Just pretty far out in front. But we're still playing for second because even though the person who didn't win, whoever finished in second, does have an opportunity to have a shorter road back to a title picture. So second place actually meant something. So I was actually playing for that. And we're going. And then I have the biggest brain fart of my life because I couldn't remember who played Lando Calrissian, who played Harvey Dent. I had that last question, and I was like, well, it's Lando. What's Lando's actor name? And I only had one repeat because earlier in the round that I had, I couldn't remember Paul Giamatti, even though I had just watched Jungle Cruise. This is letting you know kind of like how my brain is starting to short circuit on me lately. And I could not remember Billy D. Williams. Had I remembered it, we would have went to a last question for me to potentially get second in that match. But the point is that Joe, if you've watched our Jake and I's team match with Wookiee, and you watch that 5-way, and you watch like the Untold Geek Championship and all that other stuff, Joe and David are on this really unprecedented run of wheel luck where they seem to always get Star Wars or something akin to that they love. And it's really hard to beat them when they're getting what they need to, or what they're expecting, what they're wanting to get. And then you're playing from behind all the time. That 5-way match was just a tell of two people got what they wanted on the wheel. The other three didn't. That's sort of how the split was with the scoring. Although I was, third is kind of where I wanted to be. That's kind of where I expected to be. I wanted to win. But third's kind of where I expected to be. I just didn't think Albert would be 2. But Albert's been really good lately. I can't take that away from him. So I'm disappointed, but not that disappointed. Besides that brain flub at the end, I basically answered everything as I expected to answer it. And like I said, more than half of us didn't get the wheel spins we wanted. And that matters in a match of that magnitude.
Yeah, I understand.
So now we got Joe versus Scully for the singles title. And we have Wookiee versus Guns and Ships for the fandom team's title.
Yeah, my condolences. Like, I watched a match of mine today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so glad I don't play. Like, man, like, even though it's been, that match was like 2 years ago, I was just like, oh my lord.
How'd you do in the fandom match? How'd you do in the 5-way? Did you watch it and play along?
No, that's the one thing with fandom that, like, I never do well because there's so many of those ancillary categories.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, I don't think that would work at all for me personally.
I know they just had I think Brittany and Tyler just had their team's debut in Untitled Geek. Did you watch that one?
I did not. I have not watched any. Like, I watched the Schmoedown stuff last week, and I watched they gave us patrons access to the first match of Titans tonight. Which, guess what? We won't talk about. We'll talk about all that stuff next week.
Okay.
But since I don't know what the second match is going on, I think, like, right now. So, and I have it saved to my phone so I can watch it right as soon as the show's over. Because apparently, if you watch the stream as soon as the stream's over, like after a few hours, they're gonna take it off and then split it up into 2 videos for next week, and I don't want to do that. Yeah,
that sucks.
I mean, I guess it's as a like, hey, watch it live or
People
watch.
Got shit to do on Friday nights.
I mean, I agree. Like, I hate that it's 7 o'clock when we're like, they're like, ooh, Colton, we're gonna make it where you can't predict a single Like I can make the predictions for. We know what the main event is because they already announced that, but they announced. You watched last week's pay-per-view, right?
I didn't watch the pay-per-view. I watched them split, honestly.
Oh, okay. So you know it's JT versus.
Yeah, I mean they introduced that because I did watch the very beginning of Titans, so I did see that was happening.
Yeah, so I obviously am gonna choose the kid.
Yeah, how could you not?
Yeah, just because like even if whoever it was that was worse than JT, I would still choose the other person because I don't like JT as a human being. So
Not a lot of people do anymore.
yeah,
Or they really didn't when he was a heel too, right? So
yeah,
yeah, no, I mean, you give JTE credit for pulling his weight when he was playing with Roka, right?
yeah,
But the kid's part of Shazam. Kid's been good.
yeah.
I'm not gonna go against him.
Yeah, like arguably, like it's gonna be weird because like I think JTE was probably the strongest player in the Patriots, and I don't know where Brendan is. Like it's all according to what categories are played, is if he's stronger than Bibbs. But like I think JTE was a better, like besides like the Robert Duvall thing with the Patriot, Jeff Snyder giving the last answer for them to be top 10. Like I think JT was always the stronger player, or at least during that era. And then Snyder got better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
but other than that, for fan league stuff, there's not really a lot going on right now. I mean, Full Metal's basically just classic and randoms. Until they're playing a lot of new people matches, but there's also like a ramp up to a singles title. There's some people like David and Kaiser and people who I think are on their way to getting to a title shot to Jake. They're playing some teams matches, but I don't know what the end result's going to be. Like, I don't know who's in the universe to get to lights, camera, and action. And then Geek, I mean, Jake and I lost to Joe and Eli. So Joe and Eli are going to play David and RJ. But I don't know what the singles. I don't know what singles holds. There's been a couple matches there, and then in multiplex, I just told you what all the fandom stuff was going to lead to. Warzone after the title match. I know there's a team's title match that's going to come up soon, but other than that, they're just sort of playing new people again. So it's a lot of ramping up, just getting new people involved on both sides for multiplex and then in these other leagues too. So there's not really a lot in terms of like storylines or people coming together or title pictures beyond what it is I've just mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you think Joe could beat Scully?
Yes, I do. I thought it was a foregone conclusion, but honestly, in that Menchaca match, Scully didn't uber impress me. And by the way, I don't know if I told you, but I'll say it here, because who's watching, honestly. I did not care for how Scully mentioned me at the end of his Menchaca match. So I have to tell you that I'm ready and raring to come back to fandom and to lay waste to shit.
What did he say?
He basically was like, I want to play Albert because I shared a plane with him and they're friends. Joe would be tough. Holtzman would be tough. And then he was like, and Kastner and Birch have some nice strengths. So I was like, oh, that's great. Yeah, no, I'm just a throw-in. Of course. That's how we see it. So when I heard that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, when I get these little regular movie matches out of the way, I'm going back to fandom. I'm going to fandom. I'm going on fandom hard.
Okay. Well, good luck. Go kick some butt.
That's my plan. I gotta wait till the tournament, but it'll be fun.
But yeah, so the Schmoedown, they had their first big pay-per-view.
They did.
And, so Sam Levine.
Drama.
Yeah, all right. So I will say I have missed all of this. Like watching this has like even Spectacular, I don't think was as good. Like this was so much better than anything I've watched in the last 2 years, trivia wise.
How do you like the? I find the studio modern, but I find it a little cold.
I actually really like it. Like
Okay.
it's a little different from obviously Collider because like we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so there's not as much crowd. But yeah, I liked it so much better than the Cantina and then wherever
I
they
like
were
it
at.
better than the canteen, I think.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, and the fact that they're bringing back like character is a big thing. Like, and you can already tell. Like, so like it opened up with Sam Levine as the head of the Schmoedown, and he's coming back as a player,
Yeah.
and he gets a number one contenders match. And like last week, we talked about how I thought, oh, Dan is going to be the one who he comes right back and he wins the title. I think that's going to be Sam now. I think like I haven't watched the like now Ben Bateman on his channel that he's hosting Schmoedown backstage on his channel now, and he had Dan on there. I have not watched that yet because I've been binge watching the Friendship Onion, which is Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd's podcast, and it's so good. It's so good. Just like realizing that they're actually like best friends and stuff. In
How
real
could
life.
you not be? You're two short English dudes.
Yeah, but like
Shared experience.
they've had Elijah Wood on there, and they've had Stephen Colbert on there, and like it's really good. It's a good show. Like I mean, not to be impartial, but it might be better than the Supernova show. It might be. Um, I haven't got anything one super famous or I am not super famous, nor can I just talk about Lord of the Rings the entire time. Like it's
Nobody
great.
would want to hear us do that.
Yeah, as a person who like I think that's the best fictional universe that they've ever made, that anyone has ever made. So the more people that talk about Lord of the Rings, I'm like, I got it, and I can't talk about it with like no one that I'm friends with actually is like a real diehard Lotor fan. So I'm like, and I know like so I don't bring it up in the chat as much because like I know Anthony hates it, and if me and Amaru talk about anything, it's always Harry Potter, and then me and you just talk about random crap. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I won't go out of my way to talk about Lord of the Rings.
yeah, like it,
Some inciting thing.
like yeah, but so I haven't watched Ben's show with Dan, so I don't know what the news was because like the big thing was that Dan was going to announce what he was going to do this season. So it could like shoot my entire idea of him going in IG and or it could confirm that because I think if Sam comes back and he's as good as he was and he's studying, which granted he's about to get married, so he might not do as well. I
That's
think,
what I was thinking.
yeah. Which I mean, guess what? If Rachel's helping him, that's a duo that if he comes back and him and Rachel are both uh, putting in the work to help him study, he's going to beat Marisol for the championship because I don't know.
I think peak Sam would have. I need to know how post retirement Sam looks.
Yeah, which like when we have Amaru on here next time, we'll talk to him about that. Like how much of the studying was him leading the charge for his faction, or was it someone else? Like,
Way to go, Rue. You totally bait and switched us on that one. You were like, "Oh, Sam's really busy. He's got lots of stuff going on."
yeah.
Way to go, Rue. You did it.
But yeah, so then they had the Wildberries versus Video Drew and Claudia Dolph, which they kept on calling them, hey, it's
Dolph
Drew. And I was like, Drew Dolph. It's such a much better name if you're just gonna use their names. It sounds like Rudolph. Whatever. And the first round, it was pretty good. I got the Emily Blunt was in Jungle Cruise question right.
Good. Okay.
And that's the last question I got right in the entire
Oh
match.
my gosh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and only because
You didn't know who played Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's Halloween?
nope,
Okay.
I've never seen that movie.
Don't if you're gonna
Yeah,
play it. It's pretty
yeah,
bad. I mean, 2 is worse, but Rob Zombie's Halloween movies are pretty freaking bad.
but yeah, and then of course they did the entire like they had the cutscene where Kaiser had to go take a dump, and so Smets was by himself, and then Roxy came in there and was like sweet talking him and stuff, and then it like goes into this is gonna impact something, and I thought at that moment I was like, oh well, if Smets loses, he'll turn on Kaiser and uh, join Roxy, and I was so like 2 minutes later I was wrong. Like they didn't like stop that immediately. They like
Way to see that one coming, buddy.
But yeah, so uh Chandra is now with the Stars and Roxy, and apparently that's like ruffled the feathers of Kevin. And I love storyline stuff. I'm sure it's not like an actual thing, but like Chandra is such a good heel, and
At this point, yeah, he's got his stuff down to a science.
but yeah, like he's so good. And then I did not do well playing along.
I did pretty well, but there was stuff like I didn't know who did the Predator music along with Alan Silvestri.
Yeah, no,
Uh, and I didn't know the what was it, the Eternal Abyss in the Lego Batman movie. I was
yeah,
like, what? That they had an answer? I was like, what? And I've watched that movie recently and studied stuff.
yeah. Now I did know that it was Snape that let Slytherin practice Quidditch. And
Yeah, I
I
was wondering about that. That was a weird situation.
yeah, like I didn't have to use any I wouldn't have had to use any repeats, and then I knew that it was Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, did he screw that up on purpose? Honestly, I'm asking that really because I don't understand how he could go perfect the whole way and not know that was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, well, when he started saying like Pirates of the Caribbean, I was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong because I don't know crap about actors because it was
No,
an actor question.
I mean George. Damn it, I
Well,
can't remember the dude's name, but the one dude is the captain on the boat that Indy and Marion go on,
yeah, and
and then
I was like, oh, maybe it was one of the people they picked up at Tortuga that was not Zoe Saldana. Like that's the only person I remember from that crew that mattered. So I was just like, okay, well, when he said that, I was like, oh, okay. And then they started going for, and you're a winner. And I felt bad immediately because I picked Kevin. And then they said Kevin Smets. And I was like, yes, even though I chose Claudia Dolph in Video Drew. And then, they lost. I picked Kevin Smets and my curse didn't kill him. So that made me feel really good about myself. So
it made me feel good about myself because I went perfect in predictions.
yes, yes. But yeah, and then of course, like they had some more storyline stuff, and JT will play Brendan Meyer on the first episode of Friday Night Titans, and yeah, I picked Brendan, and you picked Brendan,
Yeah,
and of course, and
not picking JTE. I don't trust him for a myriad of reasons, but I don't trust him.
yeah, and then Janine left the Stars, and I'm like, okay, like that wasted an entire video of my life watching the video where she's like, me and Alex Damon are gonna stay with the Stars, and
Yeah, that's why to me those like announcements don't really mean anything.
yeah, and then of
They
course,
seemed almost wasteful to me.
yeah, and so that's a thing that happened, and of course, like they've made, yeah, like it's interesting, I gotta say, and yeah,
Like if people are just gonna switch, people aren't thinking about literally every Schmoedown personality, so they don't have to have specialized announcements. So if it just didn't happen, and then we had the thing, then it would have been fine. But it seems superfluous to have somebody announce something and then do an immediate. retcon, a redirect. So I didn't get that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with your assessment. Like, I'm sure it will go somewhere. It
I
has
mean, it'll probably go to, I don't know,
like
there being another split faction somewhere, I bet.
honestly, I just hope that like because Janine's played IG before, I just hope it doesn't go into like I'm gonna get revenge for my friend, and then she goes after Chandru because Chandru's gonna kill her because she's not
Oh,
good.
yeah, no. He was, again, a weird miss at the end. He was playing a perfect game. He was, and it didn't look like, besides the Snape thing, which honestly I was agreeing with Mark and Guy on the desk that I thought that he was just doing that for dramatic purposes. Uh Besides that, he really didn't have any problems with any questions.
Yeah, like that is a weird scene, like in uh Chamber of Secrets, because they're like, the captain of the Slytherin team comes up and he's like, "No, we have something from
Yeah.
Professor Snape." But like, if you're not really paying that much attention to it, you pay more attention to the fact that it's Draco and it's the Nimbus 2001s and the Eat Slug moments and the Mudblood moment. Like, you pay more attention to that stuff. So it could have been something where he just missed that.
Okay,
Like,
because I mean, he's Snape's the head of Slytherin House, so
yeah, that's
you would think that it would come from him as permission, that they would be the only person who could actually give them permission, honestly. But that's fine. The point is that I'm surprised he didn't win that match, given how it was going.
yeah, I agree.
But Smets looked. I mean, he missed one question.
Yep.
Smets missed one question.
Yeah, and it was so weird because like it was the same kind of thing that Parker did when he lost to Chandru. Is Chandru went uh 10 for 10 or 11 for 11 and then 10 points for 10 points in round two, and Parker did not. He missed one question in round one, and that's what lost him the match, was because of that. And like,
That's the IG division, I think now
but
at the top tier. That's what it is.
yeah, like there's going to be people that, yeah, that are lower tiered players like that are going to miss more. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, there's it's interesting, that's for sure. And let's go ahead and let's, since we just talked about Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. So, I've seen some things where, like the big thing that came out of this trailer, like I watched Rue's reaction to it, is like, what's up with Jacob? Like, he's got a wand, he's apparently performing magic, but I've seen somewhere where like I don't want to accidentally like spoil the movie because if it happens, then someone's gonna say, "Hey, you knew that was gonna happen." But I know there are certain things like in the wizarding world, like you can hex a item to only do a certain thing.
Yeah,
At least in the books, they reference stuff like that.
yeah,
So it could be that Albus hexed the wand to where like only when uh, Jacob does certain things that it does magic,
yeah.
and like and it's a misdirect in the trailer that's the reason why Queenie's there, is that if Queenie will believe, oh, he is magical, that means now we can get married and I don't have to be with Grindelwald, because like that's the big thing Grindelwald sold her on was, hey, I'll let you get married even though secretly I actually hate Muggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Johnny Depp said he doesn't hate Muggles. He said he feels sorry for them or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what it was he says in that speech, but he
Yeah.
doesn't.
And it's one of those weird things. Like in the trailer, it makes it seem like, all right, when Dumbledore and Grindelwald are in the diner, it looks like it's like a vision or something,
Mhm.
or like they're both not there, which I like.
Yeah. It seems. Doesn't it seem weird that they would? I know people probably want this at this point because it's been. Well, no, I mean it's only really been one movie. Fantastic Beasts doesn't really count because there's no Dumbledore at all. Uh, wouldn't it be weird if they were together, given that we still don't know how the blood curse or whatever the hell it is,
Yeah.
how that's going to be resolved yet? So it would seem strange if they would actually end up being in the same place. And isn't that what the point of basically having Credence is? Is that he's supposed to kind of
Yeah.
work through Grindelwald?
Yeah, and like that was my opinion as well.
Grindelwald.
Is technically in the books it says that they did not meet from the time that they, or at least face to face, they did not meet between the Ariana's death and their duel in 1945.
Yeah.
So there's two shots in this trailer that's like kind of contradict that. Like there's the diner scene, which guess what? It erupts in flames, so I assume they're not actually there. And there's the scene where they're dueling in the street, but it's like cloudy around. I'm wondering if it's possible that that is Grindelwald using his seer ability, and he sees the duel from 1945, and is like, "Crap, I lose. Hey, kid, go after your brother. I'm gonna go hide over here." And like his followers also throw up a green symbol for himself, and I'm just like, man, um, you're really making it where uh yeah, you're really making it where Voldemort is just like not um original at all. A little bit, but I don't know. I'm I'm excited about it.
I didn't think the Jacob thing was that much of a misdirect. I think it kind of was implied that he's not really magical, especially at the end where he's like, can I keep the wand?" I know it's supposed to be like a cutesy joke, but I don't think it's a cutesy joke. I think it's a referendum on something greater that he was given this on a temporary basis. So I am tending to agree with what you're saying. Maybe not exactly that it's hexed per se, but I just think it's a temporary situation, maybe for the Queenie thing, like you talked about.
Yeah, I just really hope that he's not magic, because I really like the fact that like he's the muggle that we deal with, and like you don't really get that as much from either the books or any of the movies, like besides like the Dursleys, and you see Hermione's family a few times. But
I think that ruins a little bit of the whimsy, and you use Jacob as a vicarious character. You're sort of living what you would imagine it would be like if you came across a series of magical people and they didn't just want to murder you. This is kind of what you would hope it would be like. There'd be a sense of mysticism that would be in front of your eyes, and you would be like a kid, as opposed to the stupid Dursleys who just want to stomp out magic.
yeah, like I'm really excited for it. I'm really, really excited for everything.
I mean, I'm more than lukewarm on it because it looks better than what Crimes of Grindelwald ended up being. I don't remember how I felt about Crimes of Grindelwald before it came out, looking at trailers, but I think I'm more optimistic for this.
Yeah, I agree. And like I'm ready to see like how powerful Credence is. See if he's actually a Dumbledore or not. Because I know a lot of people have been like, he can't be a Dumbledore. Like I have always theorized that, well, he's either like the obscurial that was hinted at being in Ariana, and he's like just the manifestation of it. He's like the full obscurial. He's not even a real person.
Mm.
And he is her obscurial, which would make him Albus's brother, and that Grindelwald just gave him a first name to like make him belong, or that Percival got down and dirty in Azkaban, and like I mean, there's conjugal visits in real life, so maybe they're like, hey, we'll only let the Dementors suck on your soul like 6.5 days of the week. The other half is whatever you want to do. And Percival, being a trash bag human, was like, "Get me a hooker," and that like Credence is a bastard. But I mean, so he could potentially have the Dumbledore last name, but and then again, like whatever maybe Grindelwald knows who the mom is or whatever. But those are the only really two options that I see, is that or Grindelwald's lying to him. And yeah, my mother-in-law just tried to FaceTime me. I'll be right back.
And that's why everything went dark.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting subplot about, because we've only ever seen Azkaban through the eyes of Sirius and then Bellatrix and the other Death Eaters getting out. And then we know the story, if you read the book, about, Barty Crouch Jr. and how he went about planning his escape, which is a little bit more cerebral than what we see in like Order of the Phoenix, when the Azkaban just gets blown to hell and people just leave. So it would be interesting to see sort of the day-to-day life of Azkaban. I mean, that's why prison movies and prison shows have such a nice following and a nice niche for them that a lot of people like to go back to. That sort of leads me to think that maybe like an Azkaban movie or an Azkaban show would be interesting. Just having that as sort of the backdrop and just focusing on that little aspect, little milieu that we only have just used as sort of a catalyst, as a node to, well, that's where the bad wizards are, and that's where they get crafted and cultivated, and then if they escape, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, like I also like, I know we've talked about like the HBO Max show that's eventually going to come out, and I've always said I think they're going to end up remaking the Harry Potter books via shows. Like it'd be 7 seasons of a show, but I kind of wish that they would do like wizards around the world and do like the Chinese school and the Polish, German, whatever the whatever, and then the French school, and then the American school, and there's a school in South America, and there's a school in Africa, so that we're not just like deal with like, so we can expand. Like they like J.K. Rowling has wrote about that stuff on Pottermore, like the other wizarding communities. Like apparently the native people, they didn't use wands, they only use like potions and stuff to craft their magic.
Yeah.
So like I wonder if the other cultures, they also use other things, like if like people in Africa, they use like crystals or whatever because diamonds are mined there or whatever. Like that would be really cool. But yeah, like there's like one reference to Ilvermorny in the first Fantastic Beast movie, and I'm like, it's such a cool place. Why would you not, like, now everything's, we've seen Hogwarts twice in this movie that's not supposed to be a like it's an entire thing. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Now, Morbius. This is where
Morbius strip.
I am not excited. If it wasn't for this show, I would not go see that movie.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to go see it.
Like, I'll go ahead and tell you, like my best friend and I, like we agree with a lot of things, and we don't agree with movies. Like he is more excited. Like we went and saw the Batman last night, and he's like he is more excited for Morbius and think it will be a better movie than the Batman. And I'm just like,
gosh,
and
sounds terrible. I wouldn't want to live like that.
Like I was excited for it in January, but the thought of like now on April 1st, I guess it will be March 31st is when
I've seen both. I've seen March 31st and April 1st.
Yeah, because I always go see the movies on that Thursday.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever seen a movie on a Thursday.
Yeah, so I always do that, and the thought that my newborn child, which I'm not taking into a movie theater anytime soon, I'm gonna have to, like, my wife's gonna watch him, and I'm gonna take the kids to go see this movie. And I'm like, is this movie worth enough me having to deal with that, and it's not. Like, he'll only be like 2 weeks old at that point. It's not worth that. I don't think Fantastic Beast is worth that either, and neither is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But guess what? Um, I mean, he's gonna look like his daddy, so I gotta go ahead and like teach him how to like appreciate women because he's never gonna be cute looking. But if he learns how to appreciate a woman and all that stuff in real life, then we're good. But yeah, like I'm excited for those two movies. I don't know if there's a single other movie for the rest of the year that I'm excited about.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna take the kids to go see that. My wife's pretty like I've really thought about this like renting out an entire theater, like a just the one theater area to so that my wife can come. So if the baby cries during it, uh, no other people will be because there's a local theater that if you pay like $300, they'll or you guys are the only people in there, or
Yeah.
people that. So I'm really thinking about doing that because she loved the first Sonic movie. I also really liked it, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Idris Elba as Knuckles, man. I don't know
Yeah,
I don't know what else I need. I don't need anything else, honestly. And we have Chaos Emeralds. And we might get, Super Sonic versus Knuckles, which is like what I always wanted out of life.
well, and like I've seen something like I wonder if Shadow is going to be in this movie
Maybe a hint at the end.
because I think they cast Shamar Moore, the guy who plays in
Shamik.
SWAT, who was in Criminal Minds.
Wait, Shamar? Really?
Yeah,
Because I was thinking you meant like Shamik Moore, like the guy who did Miles Morales. And
yeah, no, they cast the cop dude from Criminal Minds, the African American guy with no
I know
hair.
Shamar Moore. I like Shamar
Yeah,
Moore.
so they cast him as Shadow, or at least that's what IMDb and his Wikipedia says.
That's a weird casting.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I mean, you got the person who voiced Tails, right? In like the games or the cartoons or whatever. And then you have Idris Elba as Knuckles, and then Shamar Moore fit. That's a very weird situation of casting.
yeah, I'm just happy that like Knuckles isn't Nigerian because all of 2016 was that stupid meme of Nigerian Knuckles being like, "You don't know the way," or in an offensive Nigerian accent that I refuse to do because I'm not looking to get canceled. But yeah, like I'm excited for that one. So that's a third movie. Did you see Uncharted?
No,
No. Okay.
I haven't seen Uncharted.
I was excited for that one, but it's already passed. And then I'm trying to think: is there anything else?
I mean, there's other stuff. I just can't.
Like Thor and Love and Thunder, I'll go see, but it might be one of those things where I go see it like maybe not even on Thursday, maybe
Why?
because like again, like it's really because like
It's Taika Waititi back, and it's freaking Christian Bale as the God Butcher, and Natalie Portman's going to be Thor, and the Guardian's going to be in there. Like,
yeah, I mean, I will definitely see it that opening weekend, but when I went and saw the Batman last night, I got home at like 11:30, and guess what? I normally go to bed at 9:30 because I'm an old man. So losing that extra 2 hours of sleep, the Batman was worth it. I don't know if there's another movie coming out this year that's going to be worth me losing sleep when I'm already in the future going to lose sleep because I'll be the one getting up with the baby every night. I assume. My wife has said that, but the first time he cries and her maternal instinct kicks in and she goes and gets him. But I'm gonna probably hop out of the bed and just go and then go to our nursery where I have a recliner and then feed him and nap. But like I don't know. Like I know I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else out that's gonna be like super like, ooh, I have to go on a Thursday night.
there's nothing that pops out at me, But while we're talking, I'm going to look at 2022 movies and see if there's anything
Yeah.
that I'm missing right now. But yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, and I can't now that my wife has my phone because where my mother-in-law tried to call it, I have no idea what time it is. Oh, it's 8:24. It's at the top right of my MacBook. Okay, cool.
yeah, it's right there. I have a MacBook as well. I can see it.
Yeah, you learn stuff. All right, so I have a question. Oh, actually, yeah, before we get because since she has my phone and she has my rankings, um, what do you enjoy having a like actual mic for your
Of course.
computer?
I
Yeah,
mean, it forces me to lean in, and that's a little weird, but it's fun. I like it. I've gotten used to it now.
yeah, like I already lean in a lot, so I'm really thinking about getting one, but
Oh, sorry. I'm cutting you off because I just thought of something that I definitely want to watch. Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie that's coming out this year.
oh no, I
Actually comes out the day before my birthday.
yeah, I can't.
Oh,
It's a horror movie too, right?
of course.
Yeah, I can't do horror movies. I hate horror movies. Like I'm a nope, nope. Nope. Yeah, because I'll be seeing that by myself because not my kids nor my wife would enjoy that. And like, all right, so I'm trying to think. Yeah, I may get one of those mics eventually because like I already leaned forward to the point where like you see that TV behind me? Like I've been watching stuff on it.
Mhm.
And like it's weird because I have this pillow that says Marvel on my chair, and like when I lean back against it, it's not. I mean, it's comfortable, but since I haven't been using it in the last year like that, I've been leaning up because I've been just like talking on the podcast or working from home where I have my phone sitting here and I'm looking up numbers for people to call. Like I've not been using it, so now I'm leaning back and I'm like, oh, that's awkward. I'm sure I'll get used to it, but
Hey, what about DC League of Super Pets?
I will see that because of Kevin Hart and The Rock, but I'm
Mm.
not like
How
when
about
does
Bob's Burgers movie?
yeah
Excited about that. I've been waiting for that for a bit. Top Gun Maverick,
yeah I hope that's good.
Lightyear, Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, some of these I'm kidding about. Yeah, nope. Black Adam. You want to watch that, right? It has everything you want.
Yes, I do. You're right. And
And then
I'm curious about the Flash. I'm not curious at all about Aquaman.
how about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1?
Ooh, yeah, like I will watch all of those. Like, oh, man, I'm gonna go to the movies so much.
Oh man, I forgot the dude who did it was the guy who's doing the Flash movie. I forgot about that was the thing now. Because
Yeah,
remember it went through like 20 directors. Because I think who was gonna do it? I forget. Was Sam Raimi gonna do it at some point? There was somebody of consequence. Robert Zemeckis was gonna do it. And I was excited about that. And then he dropped out. I was like, oh. Halloween Ends. Get to see the Halloween saga finally conclude, maybe, for a little bit. Black Panther.
yes. Well, is that gonna get made? Like, I know, like every single time I see something about it, it's about like it halting production because of
Letitia Wright.
yeah. But then there was something else that I saw that it halted production because of something else. But now I can't remember what it was. But
Hold on. Avatar 2. I didn't watch Avatar 1. I have no care.
well, all right. So that one has been trying to come out for almost 10 years. So maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. But
What about Mario?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'll watch it, but I'm not excited about it. Like,
Oh.
especially since they've said they're not going to do the Italian accents.
Well, yeah, no. That's racist, man.
Okay, so now I got my phone back. My
Anya Taylor-Joy, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, man. Jack Black as Bowser. There might be like songs in this. There might be like a Bowser song. That's what I swear on my life. If they do this Mario movie and Jack Black does not sing as Bowser, it's a fucking crime. And they should they should flush themselves down the pipes, literally. That's how I feel.
okay, so
Just wanted to get that out there.
yeah. Well, our guest is here. So I'm trying to figure out. Hey, Katie, type in the private chat and see if you've have you seen Batman yet? Just so I don't accidentally. Nope. Okay.
It's
So
called in
yeah.
Eastern Europe. It's called Da Batman.
Okay, so Robert has not either. So I'm gonna do like a quick little ranking of my Batman movies.
South
So
America,
if you
he's
don't want
called
any
El
of that,
Batman.
you can drop out for like a minute and come back. If you don't want to hear like anything about it, like you can absolutely do that. Or it's
In
whatever.
France, he's called Le Batman.
But yeah. Okay. So my number 12 is Batman Forever.
Oh my god. I already hate your list. I already hate it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I definitely think Batman and Robin is worse than Batman Forever.
Okay, so me and Anthony had that discussion today. I was like, I have a very, very, uh, very good connection to Batman and Robin. I understand it's a worse movie, but this is like my favorite list.
Oh, well then, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were ranking them on.
Oh no, like based on my opinion,
Okay.
purely based on.
Well, I mean, I love Batman and Robin as a movie watching experience. But...
I have gotten drunk so many times because of Batman and Robin, because me and my friends would put it in and we would go around a circle taking a shot every time Mr. Freeze makes an ice pun, and it's a good time. If that's what you want to. That's one of my buddies did that for every time he would take a shot every time he made a pun, and yeah, he got alcohol poisoning. So we decided to just rotate around the group of 5 of us.
Be safe, kids. Drinking games can sometimes get dangerous.
Yeah, I don't support. Hey, Raphael and Alex, if you're watching this in the future, your dad did stupid things when you were younger. And Ezra, if you're watching this so far into the future that you're 21, we've already probably had the singularity, so your dad's a computer now. But if not, yeah, you're not allowed to do that either. Please don't. But yeah, the next 2 you're also not going to like, I don't think, is Batman Returns and Batman.
Okay.
Because I have no I mean, I think they're good movies, but I don't have any connection to them at all.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
They're there.
Wait, is Adam West Batman in this? You said
no,
okay.
So because I've never seen it, so
I can't. You've never, and nobody's ever seen a ranking of any kind, no matter what kind it is, where Batman and Robin have been above Batman, Batman Returns, and Batman.
Okay, number 9, The Dark Knight Rises.
What the hell is going on?
Oh, you're gonna see the next.
Well, I mean, I understand that movie. I mean, I enjoy it because it was filmed in my hometown a bit, but it's long and meandering.
Yeah, the Steelers are Gotham football team, right?
Yeah, the Gotham Rogues, baby.
Yep. All right. The next one up is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh my god, you love Batman and Robin. This is incredible.
Yeah, and then the next one above that is Batman and Robin.
Okay.
And then the next one above that is Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're just not counting the Justice League because it would be like number 13.
Okay.
Because I hate it so much. And then
you have BVS up high too.
Yeah, Batman versus Superman, the ultimate cut, because the regular cut was also being near the bottom. And then number 4 is Batman Begins. Number 3 is Lego Batman.
Jesus, I mean, I like the Lego Batman movie a lot, but holy God.
Well, since having children, it is like really warmed up to me.
Okay.
Number 2 is The Dark Knight, and my personal favorite is the Batman.
Whoa! His personal favorite is the Batman.
Okay, so now I gotta message Katie and tell her she can come back.
I might abscond here while
Okay.
you have your discussion because I unfortunately have some other things I have to do.
But yeah, okay, well then we will talk video game movies next week.
Okay.
Yeah, because okay,
Oh.
she is back. So yeah. All right. Well, Robert, it was good to have you on the show. And I'm gonna go well, I'm gonna wait to make sure. Yep. All right, she's back on camera now. All right. Well, Robert, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything you would like to promote before you leave?
No, same stuff going on. But just everybody enjoy the Supernova show, even when I'm not here. It might seem hard, but just do it. I mean, he's a good guest lined up. Like I said, would be here, but got some other stuff going on. But just enjoy it. If it's just a personal favor to me. Just do that, please. You can do it. I know you can.
All right. Well, see you, Robert.
See everybody out there. Don't forget to tip your virtual waitresses after this is done. Remember.
Hey, Katie.
Hey, remember to tip your Postmates drivers too. That's important.
Yes. So how are you doing?
I'm alive. It's been a very long 2 years that feels like a very long 2 years and also no time at all. And also it's I clocked off of work 5 minutes ago. So it's been a long everything.
Yeah.
How are you?
Can't complain really. So far, like my wife's not in labor, so I'm on the show. And like I told people at the beginning, if you see me run off, just assume that something's happened unless I've said something, and just exit out of the stream, and I'll find somebody to close it later.
Priorities.
Yeah, it may focus in on my office for the next 24 hours before the stream actually kicks off. But yeah, so I've been a fan of everything that you've done for a while. Ever since I think you had Miles Luna on the RVB 13.
Yep.
Was, and that's where I found you guys because even though like I don't like saying this, but I don't watch Rooster. I may have glitched out there.
Yeah, you did. I lost you for a moment.
I don't really watch Rooster Teeth stuff anymore because of things that have happened. Like I have since I've got married, I have an 11 or a 12 and 11-year-old that I've adopted, and I have one on the way. And it's not exactly the most friendly content. And also, like, I used to be a huge achievement hunter person, and the thing that happened, 2020 took that from us with the Haywood situation, and I've never been able to like look past it. So that's on me.
That's fair.
But like, I wasn't a huge fan of season 17 of Red versus Blue.
17 was what?
No, wait, which is the one where?
Because the thing is, 15 and 16 were really rough for me. 17 was actually very, very solid, but I had a rough time recommending it to people to get back in because 15 and 16 were kind of a rough one for longtime fans of the series. 18 is when we did RVB 0 and they did the Fast and Furious twist on it. And honestly, that one was also a little rough week to week, but as just a movie, it played really well.
Okay, it might have been 16 then, because yeah, like it's so weird, like not having like Bernie's not there, like the rest of them like kind of just record and just do their own thing and then don't pay attention to it, and like so it's a different like I haven't watched much of it since
that's fair.
Season 15 because like the end of season 15 with Caboose seeing Church back in time and essentially telling him goodbye or whatever is like a really sweet ending there. But yeah, like So I'm trying to think, like what, like I watched your Voltron show for a long time. I'm trying to think what
That was
else.
a fun one.
Yeah.
It was a very good time.
Then y'all did Rebels as well, right?
Which was also a fun one. Slightly
Yeah.
different crew, but a very good time nonetheless.
Yeah, and like not that it's related, but my son that will be born in 2 weeks, his name is Ezra.
Oh.
So it's not just a Star Wars thing; it's a biblical thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
I mean,
that's
to be fair, so is Luke.
yes, it is. But yeah, I noticed like, does anyone do anything with AfterBuzz animation anymore?
AfterBuzz has not been doing anything with its channels since the for one, I'm no longer with AfterBuzz and I haven't been for several years. As far as I know, it hasn't been doing anything with its channels because of the pandemic. It hasn't been possible to get people in studio safely, and not everyone has the setup. So I know they're focusing a lot more on their written press coverage, but given that for a while there weren't red carpets, there weren't other things, there wasn't a way to get people in studio and talking safely, like, I don't know what their plans are studio side, but I am no longer a part of that outlet. If anyone is interested in seeing my press coverage, I am actually doing things with Fanversation. I've been doing red carpets for them, before the pandemic, and now that things are starting to happen again a little more, hopefully get that started up again too. I've been doing writing for them, and I am on a weekly show called Nighttime at the Nerd Bar with my co-host Carrie Lane. It's mostly anime stuff, but I've been reading a lot of books recently, so I've been talking about a lot of books. It's a very good time.
Yeah, yeah, like I didn't even realize that you had left AfterBuzz until I was doing research for the show to see um like what's been going on, because like I'm subscribed to your personal channel, and I haven't watched a whole lot of anything since I adopted my children,
That's
because like
fair.
now, like a lot of the things you review are very not kid friendly.
Yeah, that's also fair.
So
And my videos aren't very kid friendly.
but like, so it's a lot harder to be like, ooh, is it worth me staying up till close to midnight to watch these shows, or is it just okay for me to go to bed at 9:30 and be an old man? So that's what I do, because yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
Yes, I mean, I think so anyway. But yeah, so what I'm trying to think of any questions. I'm sure I had a bunch earlier.
To
But
be fair, the channel has been slightly inert for a bit because the get up and go for doing creative things during the pandemic kind of got up and went. There are plans to restart things. There's still, of course, backlogs of the Rooster Team, of the show that the four of us have been doing, the podcast. There's still, I haven't watched the Ruby Fables or Family Shatters yet. I do still have plans to record for those. It's just been a matter of, when do Megan and I both have spoons and time? And that Venn diagram overlap has not really been happening recently. So there's still plans, but there's a pin in a lot of them. We actually went out to go see Scream 5 when it came to theaters, which was a blast. And so we've done some stuff on the sister channel, Silver Screams. We've talked about Scream 5 there, and there's a few more recent things there if you're more for horror flavored stuff. But yeah, it's been a rough creative time. It happens.
like, as a person who I have always wanted to do this, but I never thought, oh, hey, and the pandemic actually worked really well for that.
There you go.
Was I didn't have anything to do for 6 months, so I well, besides like I planned my wedding and then was unemployed. So you can only
Oof.
do so much planning for a wedding when you're a male. Uh, Typically, a lot of the stuff was my wife being like, "Hey, do you like this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." And because like at that point in time, like I don't want to be one of those like negative people about Star Wars, but the Rise of Skywalker really killed my liking of all of that, at least for me. And my wife is actually the reason why I'm like a fan of Star Wars again, because like she planned our wedding and made it Star Wars themed.
Nice.
And I was just like, she would ask me for stuff, and I was just so bummed out because like my favorite character was Palpatine. Like we named my dog Ray, and like I was like, it's like ruining all the things that I liked. Like the Last Jedi, like even though it was such a departure from everything that I'd ever seen before, Star Wars related, like at least like it set up like Ray's nobody, and then for them just like flip the script there. I was really happy with her not being anyone, because that means you don't have to be related to someone powerful to be powerful. Like she's just that. And then they, made her a Palpatine.
No, I'm with you. I adored Last Jedi. That was such a good movie. And I kind of wish that Rian Johnson had the whole trilogy, because JJ came out later and said, yeah, we didn't have a plan going into that. And it's like, well, in retrospect, that's obvious. So, yeah, Rise of Skywalker was really a rough one. Like, I did enjoy it while I was watching it, and then the fridge logic set in later. I very much enjoyed parts of it. They're seeing all of the former stormtroopers do their own thing, become their own family. Like, I loved that aspect of it. There were a number of ideas in that movie that I thought were great. Everything to do with Palpatine was not one of them.
Yeah, like as a person who like I read the old expanded universe, so like Palpatine coming back to life, that didn't bother me so much. It was just like the fact that they promoted it in
Fortnite,
and it's just like, haha, Palpatine is back. I'm like,
somehow.
Yeah, and like they didn't promote that at all. Which granted, it was 3 different directors that were going to direct the 3 movies, and then the third one left. So JJ came in and was just like, well, I'm going to undo everything Rian Johnson did.
Yeah. And that it was a divisive movie. Last Jedi was, but like, damn, though, it was so good, and showing that our protagonists could be fallible, and that I hesitate to call it shonen protagonist energy because this is Star Wars, but Poe has very big shonen protagonist energy, and showing that that is not always the right thing to do was a great departure from the usual way that this franchise works.
Yeah, that's one of those things where like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yep, I did. Okay, but yeah, that's one of those things where like all the characters in The Force Awakens was so interesting, and they only just built on that in The Last Jedi. And then, like, granted, they didn't know Carrie Fisher was going to die, so the fact that they had Luke die in The Last Jedi, like, hindsight being 2020, they would have had Leia die in the ship, and her be the one that went through Snoke's ship, because that would have just made sense, like with hindsight being 2020, and then Luke would have died in the third movie. But the fact that like the first time you see Luke Skywalker, it's him like catching a lightsaber and being like, no, this deserves more respect. I should not have thrown this off off the thing in the last movie. No, Rian Johnson, no. And I'm just like, yeah. But yeah, like I like Star Wars. Like there's things, of course, like I love The Mandalorian. And like,
oh my god, yes,
I thought was good. I didn't think it rose up to the standard of The Mandalorian, but like I think Rebels is probably the best Star Wars content that anyone has ever made. And that's not just like a thing where like my son's going to be named Ezra. It's like I think it's legit. Like I'm really excited for Ezra to come back and Thrawn to come back in the Ahsoka show. Like it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like Hayden's coming back for Kenobi and Ahsoka, and I'm probably going to cry. And yeah, it happens. But yeah.
Yeah.
I assume you have watched all of
I
Ruby.
didn't watch the new seasons of Clone Wars because I never watched the old seasons of Clone Wars. We watched the we watched the like I think 5 episodes where they squeezed the entire thing with Mandalore in there with Maul and with things going to hell, and those were so quickly paced I felt like I had whiplash. I don't know if that's how most of Clone Wars was. I doubt that that's the case, but that's what I remember. So I never got back around to watching the rest of it because it was a lot. Just experiencing that in preparation for the Rebels episodes was a lot. But yes, watched Mandalorian, watched Boba Fett, really enjoyed them both for very different reasons. Like Boba Fett, I think the worst part of it was when it decided to be the Mandalorian for 2 episodes. Like it was better when it was Boba Fett.
Yeah, like I liked all of Boba Fett's like his past stuff was so good. Like all of the flashback stuff that every time it went back to the present day stuff, I was like, no, go back and do more Tusken Raider things. Like
I disagree.
I like because it like I have never been a fan of Boba Fett. Like reading all the Karen Traviss novels and her making Mandalorian seem like the bee's knees and stuff. Like
Karen Traviss, though.
Yeah, but I mean, she does a good job with the Halo novels. I've always liked that. Okay, but
we're not going to talk about the Halo novels. Well, that is oh boy.
I haven't read them in like 15 years, so I've probably changed my opinion on that. But it's been like, but I always thought like, how can you screw up Halo? But like, I always felt like
very easily.
They're making like they made Boba Fett like Jaina's trainer to teach her how to do stuff, and I was just like, no, like I never liked Boba Fett, and like the Mandalorian made me like Mandalorians because even like the Clone Wars episodes where we have Pre Vizsla, I was just like, I was happy when Maul took care of him and took over, and I was then. Yeah, so I had no problem with any of that. Like I was just like, okay, well, this is a step towards like Maul's revival is awesome. Like I would have never seen that. Like I don't know why I didn't see it because Star Wars revives their characters all the time, but I thought, oh, he got cut in half. George will never actually bring him back because like that doesn't seem like a George Lucas thing.
No, but Dave sure did.
Yeah,
and that's the difference, I think.
But yeah, like I would recommend like there are moments in Clone Wars that are really nice. Like all the Anakin and Ahsoka stuff is really good. And like all the Obi-Wan and Anakin stuff, because like there's even like the moments on the Mandalorian arcs where when he talks about like he would have left the order for Satine, and like just thinking like you have a friend who wants to do the same thing because he's actually secretly married, but you guys are not, we would not be supportive of that because he's the chosen one. And like all those things that like totally led down to his him being Vader and being an awful human being is because of all of that. Like if you had told him, if Obi-Wan had been like, yeah, I was in love with a chick, and I've always thought like her nephew, I think his name is like Kreese or whatever, looks a whole lot like Obi-Wan, and I'm just like, that's my theory, is that's Obi-Wan's son that she just never wanted to tell him about, and I'm like,
I mean, let's be real, we all know Obi-Wan fucks.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. With looking like Ewan McGregor, aren't you going to?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Well, and even when he becomes Alec Guinness, like
Alec Guinness decided he was done with the franchise, though.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, like even he didn't look bad as an old man either.
Oh no.
Like I mean, yeah. So no problem. Like he'd be balling, but yeah, like I'm trying to think. Obviously, like we talked about Ruby a little bit earlier. Have you watched? Like I haven't watched anything volume. Which is the volume that just came out?
8.
8. Okay, I've watched volume 8. My kids love it.
So you're caught up.
Yeah, so my kids love Ruby, but I don't have a first account anymore. So like I haven't watched it, and I'm just waiting until volume 9 comes all the way out and releases all their episodes so I can get it for a month and have them watch it, because like
Good luck with the spoiler lockdown. I'm sure that's going to be wild.
yeah, well, as a person who like I don't really follow a lot of Rooster Teeth stuff because as much anymore. Like I watched Achievement Hunter Wrestling because I like professional wrestling in real life, and I like the Achievement Hunter people that are around. It's just like every time I think about them, I think of Ryan, and it makes me feel awful for supporting a horrible human being. But
I mean, you didn't know. A lot of people didn't know, and
yeah, it's just
that's life sometimes.
and like some of my favorite content has him in it. I want to go back and watch Heroes and Halfwits, but I can't stand looking at his stupid face. So yeah, it happens. But let's see. Ooh, okay. Well, someone just told me Ruby is available on Crunchyroll if you need to catch up.
Yeah, and it was one of the it's one of the ones that was rolled in with Verve, and now Funimation and Crunchyroll have done this because of Sony, and Funny is moving not their entire catalog yet, but all the new stuff and some legacy series like Yu Yu Hakusho is now on Crunchyroll where it used to be on Funny. So I think because I've been watching things via Verve, and I think Verve is probably not long for this world. I definitely got the, hey, thanks for being a Verve subscriber. We're going to give you 60 days premium on Crunchyroll. And I'm like, okay, yep, that's it. That is elation going. And we're done.
Yeah, like
So,
it's such a weird thing. Like we live in such a weird time where like everyone canceled their cable subscriptions, and now all the streaming stuff, if you have all of them, it is more expensive than cable.
and they warned that this was going to happen because this is what happened with cable. Your basic stuff is free as long as you have some form of antenna or a cable hookup. But then everything else, you want to buy sports, that's separate. You want to buy the movie channels, that's separate. You want the extended stuff, that's separate. Like if you want anything outside of ABC, CBS, NBC, whatever you get within that first 12 channels that you can still get on an old dial TV, then that costs more. And then there's bundling it with your internet, which may or may not happen. Like we knew that it was going to be this bad. We predicted it and we said, don't do it. And here we are. And every channel now has their own streaming app that you may or may not need to pay for to watch stuff on. And it's just like,
yeah,
okay, this is why piracy is happening.
yeah, especially like if you're one of those people that like I had an app up until like a few months ago that had commercials, and like I hate commercials like so much.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that like they'll play the stuff the next day commercial free, like that's worth it. Totally worth it. And like that's the life we live in. Like it's like people complain about the future, but like I mean, yeah, like I'm sure things were easier, but this is amazing.
Yeah.
You can pick
it's a pain, but
here and gain any information you want in the world. I mean, yeah, like it makes some things harder. Like I don't know, like I'm sure dating is a lot harder in whatever, but like North Carolina, which is where I'm from, I know you're from California, so like I'm sure dating in California with technology could be simpler. North Carolina, not so much. We're like in the country and no one trusts dating apps, but like,
yeah, see, I don't bother.
yeah,
Not interested. Oh well. But yeah, that's again, before the pandemic, LA also used to have a nightlife, and that was a slightly easier way to meet people of similar tastes. But, pandemic happened, and we're still kind of getting back to things. So,
yeah, knock on wood.
yeah.
Yeah, like I know I don't know if you know about, like, I'm sure you know about the Schmoedown. Like, I don't know. It's like Emma.
That's been happening in my periphery. I don't know the details, and I have chosen not to get into it.
Yeah. So we talk about that a lot on the show. But yeah, like, it's so nice to like they're finally getting back into like they've been doing digital stuff for like a year.
Yes. Okay.
And it has been the most boring content. Like, I understand why they have to do it because like they need to. They wouldn't want to go 2 years without stuff. But it has been the most boring content ever. But of course, like you gotta. I want to watch it to support them. Like even if it means like starting the video for like 10 minutes and then getting all past all the boring parts to get to the interesting parts. But like it's finally back to the point where they're doing stuff in like live action and it's really, really interesting. Like
Yeah, I'm not going to pass judgment on media I haven't seen.
yeah. But yeah, like and I know a lot of stuff is like that. Like
yeah. Overwatch League has been entirely digital for 2 seasons now, and there's definitely they had a few homestands in China when things looked like they were opening up, and then like Delta happened, and then Omicron happened, so that didn't quite occur. But it's so weird now to go on the VOD and hear crowds cheering because it's been a couple of years without that because it's all been digital. But we're also starting to get used to the pauses, to the fun backgrounds that everyone has, to see there's the fact that they allow chat on screen now is one of the single best things Overwatch League has done for its digital broadcasts, and I hope they keep it when they go back to live events because having the chat on screen has been amazing. It's been so damn funny. And all of these players have a lot of personality. It's a lot of fun to see them interact outside of the game. Some of the most fun stuff during lockdown was team produced content. The Houston Outlaws did a cooking show, God help them. It was was a little wild. So there will be I've definitely been missing having League in person. The Blizzard Arena is no longer down the street, unfortunately, but I've been missing in-person events, and you can't really replace those. But having it available at all, the fact that they continue to play when it's online only, like it was very, very good for me personally during the pandemic. Everyone busted their asses to make it happen, and it was impressive how professionally done that these past 2 seasons have been. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, lol, professionalism. Remember the history lessons of Sideshow or the cooking competition?" I'm like, "Look, I didn't say professionalism. I said professionally done in that things were uniform. There was branding. There was, for the most part, as far as anyone could manage, consistent connections, consistency in branding and formatting and scheduling. Like, in so much as it's difficult to put anything together during a pandemic, they did pretty damn well. And the cooking competition where everyone failed at making cakes was my favorite part of it. I still recommend going back and watching those videos. They are beautiful, beautiful train wrecks.
yeah, and like
I lost you again.
Yeah, I know. It happens.
It happens.
Yeah, that's what you get for having like internet in the South. There's no like fiber or anything. But but yeah, like I'm just happy that like in person things are happening because like I I typically do not talk like politics or any of that on the show, but like as a person who like I've watched wrestling for the last 2 years where they've had digital screens with people on laptops and like they are told, "Hey, cheer now or don't or boo." And like so like that's been really frustrating and like, conventions like as a person who like I've been to 2 Star Wars celebrations and I wonder how like it's going to be in Anaheim this year, and I hope it happens. Like,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah,
Orange County lifted their mask mandate a while ago, and if we're not looking at another variant, then they will definitely hold it.
yeah, I know. Yeah, like they've sold tickets, but like Reed Pop hasn't sent any emails out to like apparently anyone just in case. Like,
Yeah.
and apparently they're planning on like, but like if people are planning on like flying over there and stuff, you should like kind of inform them because it comes out like Star Wars Celebration is like in a few months, and some people may want to know that information. But
yeah, but at that point, you buy the travel insurance on your flights just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'm trying to think. What kind of things, like we've talked some things. What things interest you? Like,
I mean, like I said, we went to go see Scream 5 when it came out. That was my first Scream in theaters. I'm not usually, I keep saying, I'm not usually the biggest horror person. And then I go talk about horror for like half an hour. It's mostly horror by proxy. Megan is the big horror person. But seeing a Scream movie in theaters at all, I think this is going to be the last time we get to see the main cast in a Scream movie, or we get to see this in theaters. And it was very, very well done. It was, I somehow managed to call the twist months earlier when we did a reaction video to the trailer, and then I forgot about it. And evidently, very past Katie was right. I'm trying not to spoil anything for the people who were not interested or able in seeing it in theaters, which is fair. We are still in a pandemic, but want to remain unspoiled for who Ghostface is in this one. But if you are a fan of Scream, it is a fantastic Scream movie. I had to stop making the, oh yeah, the Scream trilogy 1, 2, and 4 joke, because 5 is just that good. So
question.
Yeah?
Since you like Scream, do you like the show?
I haven't seen the 3rd season. For people who've been watching Silver Screams, actually, Megan and I covered the first 2 seasons in depth, episode by episode. And the answer is yes, absolutely. It took a while to get going in that first season. It took a couple of episodes for it to stop being like, boy, this feels like a CW show, even though it's on MTV, and start actually feeling like Scream. And we got 2 seasons and a movie in that continuity, and then they completely dumped it and did season 3, different network, different cast, different producers, different everything. So we never actually got answers for the questions that were posed in season 2 and in that movie. But even in light of that, like, if you like Scream, if you like slashers, if you have the patience to sit through the first 2 episodes of the season that are like, okay, this is going to take a minute, it's great. It is so much fun. Oh my god.
Yeah, so my wife watches that. I don't do horror. Like, that's just
Fair.
not a thing that I enjoy. Like, I think the world is scary enough that that stuff can happen in real life, and I just don't want any part of that. Like, I like my
Fair.
stuff. I like to watch my movies where nothing like that is gonna exist. But also, do you think they missed out on a marketing opportunity by not replacing the S in Scream with a 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I saw
Here's the thing. They aren't marketing it as Scream 5. They're just marketing it as Scream, in the same way that Halloween 2018 is just marketed as Halloween, despite the fact that it is a sequel to Halloween, not to be confused with Halloween. It's like, do you want to watch The Thing, or The Thing?
Yep.
People do this, and it's terrible.
Yeah, like, I went and saw a movie last night, and, like, I saw the Scream thing, and I was like, I asked my buddy, I was like, "This is the 5th movie, right?" I was like, and he was like, "Yeah." And like, they really missed an opportunity there to
They did.
replace the S with the 5, but oh well.
But the movie also got into the idea of, because within the world of Scream, within the meta of Scream, there is a franchise called Stab. And Stab is the in-world Scream movies, because, something happens and a Hollywood producer has to make a big old fictionalized whatever about it. Which, it's the industry. And Scream 4 definitely had comments about, the Stab franchise, and, the 4th one was great, the 5th one was weird. Why did the 7th one include time travel? We just don't know. Scream 5 had a lot about fandom and fan entitlement and fan opinions and franchises going off the rails and how people handle it. It had a lot to say about fans of horror franchises and fans of intrinsically violent franchises. And then I read it's a novel called The Final Girl Survivor Group by Gary Hendricks. It's amazing. And it is essentially about a therapy group for final girls, for people who survived these awful experiences where a whole bunch of people got killed, but they were the last one to make it out. So they don't use any franchise names in the novel, but it's XPs of Scream, Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, etc., etc. And that book had a lot to say about serial killer fans, not necessarily fans of true crime, but fans of individual serial killers who are like, yes, I want to own the clothing that this person wore when he murdered this other person, or the weapon, or people who get a little too far into it for comfort. It's interesting to have Final Girl Survivor Group and Scream 5, for me, so close to each other, because I think Survivor Group came out last year. But I appreciate when things like this are aware of their fans, not in a, oh, people like our stuff. Well, that's weird. Oh, why do you like this? That's so immature. Like, no one needs that. But I appreciate addressing, like, yes, this is how fandom can be sometimes. Sometimes it's a great thing and you make friends and you have discussions. Sometimes it's a great vehicle for media criticism. And sometimes it's an echo chamber that can give rise to and encourage some very terrifying impulses that need to be checked. And I like that modern media is kind of taking a look at that and going, here's a mirror. What do you look like in it? So yeah, modern horror is fairly good at that recently, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I don't do horror movies.
That's fair.
Yeah, like it's never been my thing. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, I'm not going to be watching the new Texas Chainsaw anytime soon, but I have watched Willy's Wonderland more times than I probably should have, and I love it so much. But yeah, away from horror, something we can both talk about.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Elden Ring just dropped.
Yes.
Everyone has been losing their minds over it.
Yes. Like, as a person, I never played any of the Dark Souls games before this, so it's been a little different. Like, trying to figure out which of the classes I want to be, and I sat there for like 2 hours one day just shifting through the people, and then having to read a thing about, oh, all right, so these people can do magic, and then the rest of them are warriors. I got it. Just to like figure out, and then going through like the customization for your character, because I don't know how like the women characters look. All the men in that game look awful. All of them. Their faces don't look good at all, and I'm just like, I don't look like that. No part of me. So my guy just wears a helmet all the time, so I don't have to look at his stupid face.
Valid.
Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, like I've enjoyed it. Like, there are parts of me that are like, well, George R. R. Martin helped write this, so it has to either be really good or it isn't complete yet. And I haven't gotten it.
It's a large online game. It's probably not complete yet.
Yeah. So I have no idea about that, but yeah, like it's good. I am the type, like, this is the first game I've got on my Xbox in a really long time. Like, typically I play Pokemon.
Fair.
I play a lot of that because like I've been playing that since the late 90s, and then of course I have children who love the show and had never played a video game before, and I was like, come over here. Let me teach you something.
Okay, but Violet and Scarlet though.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
that's a thing. Like I know I should be excited for it, but I'm not sure if I am. Like all the graphics look great. I'm not excited about the starters. Like
Really?
yeah, because I think I typically always choose fire type, but I don't know if I like the little gator dinosaur
He's so
thing.
cute. He's a little ghost pepper crocodile.
Yeah,
He's supposed to be a chili pepper. I love it.
yeah, but I wonder what it'll evolve into, and I'm afraid for the cat that it's gonna evolve into like an Incineroar thing and not be an actual cat. It's gonna be humanoid, and I hate
Oh yeah.
they do that all the time.
All of the memes have just been like, "You'd better stay quadrupedal."
Yeah, and if he does, like I have growing up, I've never chose a grass starter before. So if I see what his final evolution is and I like it, I may choose grass because I never have before. Like I've always been, except for like Greninja, I've always been fire type. Like I never played Gen 5, so I never had the choice to like choose Tepig. But I skipped that one. But my kids have played that and one of them chose Tepig, so I like live vicariously through them. But yeah, like I've normally just chosen fire because like there's always like other things that I could do. Like even though like water is probably the smartest, especially like in early generations, because you have someone automatically who can learn stealth. But I never liked any of the first 3 generations water Pokemon. So
Oh, I will fight you on that one. Totodile is an adorable baby.
Okay, I will agree.
Totodile is very good. Then again, the Johto starters were all amazing, and I played through. I had Silver, and then I got Crystal when that came out multiple times, and so I did all of them. That is the only one where it's like, these are all my children. I will not pick a favorite.
Yeah, like I like Cyndaquil, and I like Cyndaquil, Quilava, and Typhlosion, and I like Totodile and Feraligatr. I do not like Crocodile, and then I like Chikorita and Bayleaf, and I can't stand Meganium, so I just never evolved my Bayleaf because I thought Meganium looked dumb, and I thought Bayleaf was real cute because I was a kid, so I was just like, no, Meganium's too much like what's a good Dollar General Venusaur, and I just didn't like it. But Meganium Bayleaf was cool because Ash had one and all that stuff. But yeah, I like that. And then I never really liked Swampert, and it took me a long time to like Sceptile when I was
but you do like Mudkips.
Yes, I do. I just don't like
I don't know how that meme got started, but it still makes me happy every time.
Yeah.
Just Mudkips. I like them. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah.
It's like super adorable.
But yeah, I fell in love with Sprigatito. I just, between that design and the pun in the name, perfect. Sign me up.
Yeah.
What an adorable baby.
I assume it will be it looks like it's going to be based on Spain, which I like.
I think they've confirmed that.
Well, because the map looks like Spain and Portugal, so I'm cool with that.
And I mean, 2 of the 3 starters have Spanish puns in their English names. So
as a person who I live in a Hispanic household, my wife is Mexican and my stepsons are also Mexican. So I hear that all the time and I'm just like, yes, I got it. But yeah, I'm excited for it because typically at least the first 4 generations were all based on Japan, so it made sense where they would talk about each other. But now I'm wondering since it's Spain and then we have France and England, so will there be references to Galar and Kalos? And then of course
I hope so.
Unova and stuff is just
Alola
here by ourselves, and which I didn't really like the Alola games, but that happens. I was
Okay, but the Alola versions were so cute though. Well, they were either cute or they were hysterical.
Yeah,
But like Ice Vulpix, just yes, please, right here.
what? Yeah, like that's one of those things where like Alolan Ninetales like absolutely destroys Dragon type Pokemon, and it's so sad. But like I love,
and then you have Alolan Executor, who is a living shitpost, and I adore them too.
yeah, and,
Just
like,
it's just great.
and as a person who like I've never really liked Pikachu, I was always a Raichu person when I was a kid, like to the point where
Yeah, same.
when I played Pokemon Yellow, I would send my Pikachu over to a friend, have them evolve it, and then send it back to me because in your version you could not force it to have the Thunderstone, and I hated it following me around, and I just wanted a Raichu.
Oh, we approached Yellow very differently.
Well, yeah, because like once you got its friendship or high enough to where you got the Bulbasaur, I was just like, well, I don't need this electric type, and it's better as a Raichu in Gen 1, it's better as a Raichu. And then after that, they were like, oh, Pikachu's our mascot. We're going to make it super, super better than Raichu. And then it's just no. But which makes me like, I like Alolan Raichu a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. And even though like technically it's still not better than Pikachu, like keep your Pikachu as a Pikachu and it's better than the Alolan Raichu, but like at least it's now better than former Raichu. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have people catching and playing your mascot, you want it to be well worth it to keep on their team. So that makes sense in terms of stat adjustment, especially when we also have things like Let's Go Pikachu and just, the branding.
Yeah.
I appreciate that Eevee is getting, I don't say close to Pikachu status, but Eevee is kind of our secondary mascot for the Pokemon franchise and well deserved.
Yeah, that's one of those things where like my favorite Pokemon growing up was always Charizard and Mewtwo because Ash's Charizard and like the Mewtwo movie.
So you got plenty of merchandise from the get-go.
Yeah, like immediately. And like I feel sorry for like the people who like their favorite Pokemon was like Paris or Geodude or something because you're not getting merch at all. Like
you are now.
Yeah, I mean, now, but like when you were a kid, no one's gonna find a plush of Geodude.
Yeah, no.
You weren't gonna do that. But like as soon as the first Pokemon movie came out, I was like, yes, Mewtwo, give it here. And all that stuff. And then like Charizard, if it wasn't for Pikachu, I think Charizard would be the most popular Pokemon because of like it gets the most. I think it gets more treatment than Pikachu does. Like it's got
See, at this point, I'm going to continue to jazz hands at Eevee, and the sheer amount of evolutions we have to the point where you have an Eevee pride flag. Like, I'm going to fight you on that one because I think there's a reason Pokemon Company picked up Eevee is like, we should actually market the hell out of this because people already love our tiny mutated cat dog.
Well, and I think like people more like its evolutions than it does it. But like,
I disagree. There is a lot of love for Eevee itself out there too.
All right, but like Charizard has 2 Megas and a Gigantamax form. Like it has more forms than any Pokemon, and like so. Yeah. But this was good. Like earlier we talked about Morbius. I'm not excited for that. And then Fantastic Beast. Do you watch? No? Okay.
Nope. I'm not planning on seeing anything that is going to give that particular author any more money in her pocket. So, plus, evidently, the previous movie was a tire fire. So, I don't feel the need to put it in my eyeballs or throw any money at it. So, I'm not going to.
I understand. Like, as a person who I read the books, I think both the Fantastic Beast movies, they are good prequels to the books. I don't think they are good prequels to the Harry Potter movies. Like, I think they don't stand, like, all the things that they reference are stuff that will eventually happen in the books that is never referenced in the movies because they're, massive
adaptations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and so I like those aspects. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and I mean, that's fair. I would argue that Fantastic Beasts may not have been the best vehicle to try to introduce the plot points that especially the second movie is introducing, because the idea of Fantastic Beasts is it's this guy who is really into magical creatures, let's go. And you kind of want to do the 90-minute Avatar, just show me the world. I want a nature documentary that's all magical creatures. And so, like, that was certainly a direction that they could have taken, and instead they chose to take the one that they did. I don't know. Again, I'll argue that the ideas that they introduce, maybe this wasn't the best vehicle for it. But again, I don't plan on putting the next one into my eyeballs, so I may not be the best person to talk to about this.
yeah. Yeah, I understand. I'm trying to think. All right. So what else? Like before I wrap this up, because it is getting to be like almost 9:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
So what other things, like in case like you come on again and I actually prepare, because on my day to day I don't prepare for anything up until about 30 minutes before the show, because
Fair.
again I might be in a hospital and my son is coming, so I don't prepare for anything. But which is the reason why like you got the link like an hour before you're supposed to come on or something like that, because I totally forgot. And
It happens.
so yeah, like we didn't start till close to 7:30, and I was like, "Oh crap! I need to send Katie this. Let me do this," because things happen.
Well, and I appreciate you working with my scheduling with us being on opposite ends of the country.
Yes, yeah. As a person who like I've had people on the show that are like in Britain, which is a lot more difficult. So at
Oh,
least
yeah.
you're only a 3-hour time difference instead of me having to either know that they might fall asleep if we're doing something boring or something like that, or me having to film in like the middle afternoon so it's convenient for them. Which
Oh,
I mean,
I'm in a D&D group, and our cleric and our ranger live in Wales. So, I feel this.
okay,
I
well,
feel
so
this.
so you better not die if they're a life cleric,
Oh, no,
which
we just
now.
play at 10 a.m. my time.
Oh, okay. Well, good, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
weekends.
because and I don't know why I didn't ask you about Dungeons and Dragons, because I have bought merch from your store before and just remembered that we talked about this. The
I'm
Oh
glad you like
Holy
my
Night,
terrible puns.
yeah, the Oh Holy Night shirt for Paladin is so good. So yeah,
That is the
like,
only one that I have, and I have worn it out so badly I need to actually buy myself a new one.
yeah, but yeah, like, all right, so very important. What class do you typically play? Like, if you
I
were
play
to decide,
charisma casters almost to exclusion. I did a barbarian once because it was a specific one-off event that required an evil character. And then well, twice technically, because I reused that character for D&D Live when it was the introduction of Avernus. And boy, it was fun to play a serial killer barbarian in hell. That was a wild one. But I am usually charisma casters almost to exclusion. So I did a paladin in one of the first long running campaigns that we did. Realized I wanted a little more distance, went warlock, Pact of the Tome for my current long running campaign, the one with friends in all different time zones and countries. And I have also played bards before, and I love it. And I think once I actually start doing Adventurers League on a relatively consistent level, I'm going to build a bard and roll with that.
okay, so up until recently, I have always played a lawful evil sorcerer
Fair.
every single time because I love meta magic. I hate that wizards get so many more spells than sorcerers do. It sucks. Like sorcerers get like 15 by the time they're level 20, which is significantly less than what a wizard gets.
Well,
But
sorcerers come pre-packed, and wizards can just do everything a la carte if they bother learning it at a library. So,
yes, yeah, and like my motivation for always choosing sorcerer is, guess what? Like wizards have to spend their gold to get their spells. Like we just get it naturally. So I've done that, but recently I've been playing a dwarven cleric, healing cleric. I hate it.
really,
Yeah, it's awful. Like the only good thing about it is I have a dwarven thrower. So I throw it as my action, and then I use healing word as my bonus action. So I can still do combat because even when I do sorcerer, like I always, since I'm charisma, I always take like a few levels in paladin so I can have plate mail. So I can like not be squishy because sorcerer is
oh,
like
you
a
just stay in the
D6.
back.
Yeah, but then
That's how I do the warlock. I took spell sniper for
yeah.
one of my I did variant human and I took lucky because I am a little bit of a min-maxer sometimes. But that's how I usually build characters is variant human and lucky because some of us like to win. And I know that's not how you're supposed to approach D&D, but it's occasionally nice to be able to reroll a natural one. Yeah, I took Spell Sniper, which doubles the range of spells that require an attack roll and lets you ignore 3/4 cover. So I can snipe someone from 240 feet, and I have taken advantage of that
Yeah,
before.
like as a person who like I always play like I play a mid-range sorcerer, so I'm close enough to where I can just fireball the crap out of them.
Fair.
Yeah, and then because fireball is what 60 feet,
Yeah.
and like so you got to stay within that range, or um, but yeah, like or yeah, and then whenever you kill your party because you weren't far enough back or you were too far back or you have to run up and then now you're closer so then like the monk has extra speed and they run up to you and punch you in the face a lot and when you're really squishy it's no good but yeah so I've always done that but recently yeah I'm a dwarven cleric and luckily enough like the DM let us pick a magic item so I chose a dwarven thrower so I could stand back, throw it with my two hands, and I could then healing word if I needed to. And if someone did too much damage to themselves, then I just wouldn't attack that turn and
Yeah.
do normal stuff. But yeah, like
Are you a life cleric or
life cleric. Yeah,
if I could make a suggestion,
yeah,
Toll the Dead, if you've got it.
I do.
Spirit Guardians, Sacred Flame. That's
Yep.
what our cleric lives off of, and they have been, yeah, especially Spirit Guardians. We had to clear a ship out of baby beholders, and just bringing the Spirit Guardians around would burn them. It was great. So
Yeah, I think
those,
I get
yeah,
spirit guardians next level. So, but
yeah. So there's a lot of utility. If you get them next level, are you like level 2, 3? Still
four.
fairly low?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because there is a ton of actual violent utility in a life cleric's kit. You just need to get it and use it. So yeah, if you're below, I don't know if it's level 4 or level 5, then you might not have spirit guardians yet. But like, that is a good one for combat. That is a good one for combat.
Yeah, and that's like one of those things where like when the other two players started, like we wanted a healer, and I was like, fine, I'll do it if I have to. I hate like just being a healer. I don't like just from playing a few sessions. I'm like I do not enjoy it, but I do it for the sake of the party because I'm a
Fair.
nice person. Um, but like, um, which in turn, like I've made my cleric like he's kind of sadistic. Like, um, he's an alchemist, so every time he kills someone, he's like, "Ooh, I got 4 hours to harvest their organs," and I'm like, "You're gonna have to deal with that because you forced me to be a cleric instead of." So now I have to do medical stuff, and I've told him I was like, "If you want me to be a cleric, I get to do all the weird role playing stuff, that whatever it is, to try and." And they're like, "Fine, whatever," and like 5 sessions in, they're like, "We're tired of this." I'm like, "Trust me, I've been tired of this since session 1, but we're still doing it."
You are really just here for the lawful evil aspect, aren't you?
Yeah, well, all right. So my character's background is he's trying to create a sorcerer's stone.
Oh,
But
jeez.
so he's trying to experiment on tons of bots. So he's lawful neutral because once he acquires he creates the sorcerer's stone, then he'll give elixir of life to everyone so they can live forever. So that's my motivation of why he's not evil, is because he's doing this to justify the means to.
That's still pretty evil.
Okay.
You're very much on a road to hell there.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, if you hate playing cleric that much, swap the dude out for a paladin. You have a lot more stopping power, and you can still slap common sense into someone. Lay on hands. No one said it had to be gentle.
Yes, that is very true. But
yeah, like if you hate your character and you hate doing it, why keep playing them?
Well, all right. So I like it's weird because like when I choose a character, it's always for like story stuff. Like I choose to be a sorcerer because one, he's a charisma person and that helps with story stuff. But if you're like ambitious enough at a table, you can like kind of get your way with how things go. But with
depends on how much leeway your GM is willing to give you.
Yeah, but like you can either, like, let's say if I played a wizard, you could either persuade them or you could cast suggestion and make it work, whichever way you want to do that. But yeah, so like I enjoy all like the out of combat stuff that my cleric's doing. But yeah, so it's like it's the weird thing. Like he's the healer, but he's actually the strongest person in the party, and I do the most damage. So like with my hammer, so I'm like, aha, blanked out. But yeah, all right. So I have one last question for you.
Okay.
What in the world does Kiaje mean?
You ever played Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Okay, so I had a very different handle in high school, in early college years, etc. And it was one of those handles where everyone who was a 14-year-old weeb with an edge took it, and so it was never available anywhere online. And then I got into Kingdom Hearts, specifically Kingdom Hearts 2, and there was a whole big thing with the villain group there called Organization 13. All of them had X's in their names, and it was, oh, well, this is who we used to be. And then we took that name and anagrammed it with an X, and now this is the nobody name. This is who we are. So that Xehanort's an exception. Like Brig became Zigbar, and Evan became Vexen, so there was at one point a post in one of my Kingdom Hearts communities on LiveJournal, and yes, that dates me, talking about, okay, well, what would your name be if you anagrammed it with an X? And I had, a good enough spread of consonants and vowels in my name to have a fair few permutations, and Kiaje was the one that I liked. So it stuck. It's unique, and now it's branding. So yeah, that has stuck around since 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah. All right. But yeah. Hey. All right. Well. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and you are more than welcome to come on anytime you want to.
All right.
And I will try to adjust the schedule to where, like, luckily enough today, typically me and Robert finish at like 8:15, and I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to like be by myself for 15 minutes, or I'm gonna have to put on the screen like I created a banner for the bottom that was like, be back
intermission.
Soon. Yeah, like be back soon, and then I was just gonna turn around and watch TV until I heard the ping that you were on, but and then come back to the stream. But yeah, like so it worked out just fine. But yeah, like I would be more than happy to have you back on the show if you'll come on.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Yep. All right. Do you have any, like, I know you've promoted some stuff, but just in case, for the 4 people that are watching the show right now, if you would, do you want to promote anything?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me all over the social medias at Kiaxet. It's over here, actually. Kiaxet. That is the Twitters and the Instagrams and the YouTube. So it's not all the social medias because I wouldn't know what to do with a TikTok, so I don't have one. I am also on our sister channel on YouTube, Silver Screams, Silver_Screams, SCREAMS. We talk about horror content there. Like I said, our latest stuff is our in-depth coverage of Scream 5. We did the trailer reaction, and we also did an hour-long review that's spoiler-free in the first part and definitely not spoiler-free in the latter part if you want to hear us go into depth in that. I am also on a weekly show on Fanversation's YouTube channel called Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, where my co-host Carrie and I, we were talking about Demon Slayer as it aired, and now that we're waiting for the next season of Demon Slayer, and My Hero Academia hasn't rolled around yet. Right now, we are talking about Ranking of Kings weekly, and also bringing in guests when we can. We recently spoke with Imari Williams, who is a wonderful human being. And just talking about whatever strikes our fancy, press releases, any new media we're consuming, all that fun stuff. Again, that is on Fanversation's YouTube video. It's like conversation, but for fans. And yeah, if you want to see what I'm up to, for the most part, the Twitter is the most active thing. So give me a follow there.
Yep. All right. And of course, everyone, like I say every week, you guys can follow me on Twitter at ColtonRoberts8 and follow the show at Supernova_show. And yeah, that's the end. Next week we'll talk about the Batman and new other topics if my baby's not here. But yeah, it's gonna be good times. Thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate it. And
yeah, thanks again.
I don't know.